going on to Medicare Part B, this is kind of the big stuff. This is like your lab fees, x-rays, MRIs, CAT scans, kidney dialysis, chemotherapy is the major one. Ambulance services. These are all Medicare Part B things. The thing that you want to remember is this deductible amount, because most plans that people are getting now, the deductible is not covered. So this is the number that you're kind of going to want to remember. Medicare sets this amount. Last year, the deductible was $226. This year, 2024, the deductible is $240. So when you go to the doctor, your first visit every year, you're going to owe the first $240. After that, your Medicare then officially kicks in, and you have that classic 80-20 split. So, and this is of the Medicare approved amount. So the doctor can charge whatever they want to. Medicare is going to approve generally a smaller amount of that, and then you only owe 20% of that smaller amount. So there's plan codes for everything that you want to have done, whether it's an MRI, a CAT scan, no matter where you go, it's always the same code. Everything is the same pricing. And you owe 20% of that approved amount, which again is generally a lot smaller. Moving on to excess charges. A lot of you, or some of you may know that the plan N as in Nancy does not cover Part B excess charges. So most doctors that accept Medicare are contractually obligated to accept the price that Medicare approves. And that's called accepting Medicare assignment. But there's certain doctors that, like podiatrists are a notable one, that do not accept Medicare assignment, and they can charge a 15% above and beyond what Medicare approves. So let's say the Medicare approved amount was $1,000. That doctor can charge an additional $150 on top of that. And if your plan didn't cover Part B excess charges, you would owe that additional $150. I will say in my experience, it is rare to see Part B excess charges. You hardly ever see it. I've seen it a handful of times over the last decade. It's just rare to see. So keep that in mind. Lab services. Medicare is going to cover 100% of all your lab services. Keep in mind that there's always new lab services coming out, and sometimes it doesn't make their way into Medicare yet. You know, a new lab will come, new technology will come out, and it hasn't made its way to the Medicare formulary, if you will, to be considered approved. So a lot of times when clients say, I have to pay for this, I almost always go to, oh, okay, that's probably a new lab technique that was used, and that's why it's not covered yet. So that's something that maybe you want to ask your doctor, or if you go to Quest or something like that, say, hey, is this a Medicare approved lab test that you're doing? And then they can tell you right then and there. So blood work, if you're receiving blood, you would pay for the first 3 pints of blood received, and then 80% per pint thereafter. Home health care, this is not a long-term care plan. This is not like a live-in nurse or anything like that. This is almost like a prescription. So let's say you had a surgery at the hospital or something like that. The doctor will write a script, and you have home health care for X amount of time, where a nurse will come to your house, bandage you up, do a little physical therapy, and then they're out the door. That's 100% approved, but you would owe 20% for durable medical equipment, wheelchairs, walkers, things like that. And anything outpatient, like if you go to the ER, it's based on outpatient payment rates. Just expect to owe 20% of the approved amount for anything that's outpatient. Okay, so again, the only thing to really note here, because a lot of this stuff is covered by the supplements, is that $240. When you receive your EOB, your explanation of benefits in the mail, it's going to say your plan did not cover this, you owe this. So you'll get that bill in the mail every year for that $240.